The two most recent incidents involve a matter in Spring St. George, where a young man was shot by the police officer as a result of a domestic dispute, and the second, that of the Moncraven shooting, where a resident labelled as mentally unstable was shot and subsequently died. These and other matters in the past have had citizens questioning the police's reasoning, and more so, what the law book states as it relates to the procedures to be followed, particularly as it relates to weapon engagement. Head of the Community Relations Department, ASP Sylvan McIntyre, says he is not in agreement with the trigger-happy title as every circumstance is different. However, he added that firearm engagement is and should always be the last resort based on police training.
One has to use what is called the force continuum, meaning that there must be levels of warnings and there has to be an escalation of the level of threat. And one, the person must be advised that something is emanating out of this. The verbal warning must be given. Then whatever other means of force that has to be used that is superior, that can subdue the person, for instance, restraining the person using a stick or whatever means. But where it becomes necessary that if firearm has to be used, as I identified before, it has to be as that kind of a last resort, where that's the only thing that you have. And under the recent circumstance, my understanding is that the officers were virtually left with little or no choice, or else somebody else's life would have been lost under those circumstances.
But we know the determination may vary based on the individual in terms of the police officer using his discretion. Is there anything in the law books that states in terms of distance or that sort of thing?
One has to appreciate that when a situation presents itself, you would have little or no time. And there are times when your decision may not be the best, or sometimes it is instinctive. And under some circumstances, when something occurred, one may examine, and this is why an investigation is conducted, as to whether or not you had other options that you could have used. And we want to be empathetic with the police officer who might be involved. And you as a human being, as a police officer, you have that split second between which to make a decision. And sometimes as human being, you may not make the best decision, but you want to be able to convince yourself that whenever you make a decision that it is justified. And as police officers, we have to be professional enough to understand that I have to do that. At the end of the day though, human beings, police officers are, you have to live with your conscience and you have to be satisfied that what you do was in the line of duty and it was justified given the circumstance that presented itself.
So what exactly are the steps that should be followed by police officers when faced with these situations? ASP McIntyre had this explanation.
Whenever something occurs, it's not just the police investigating themselves. A coroner inquest would be summoned or initiated, wherein all the circumstances will be examined. And as I said before, if a police officer finds himself on the wrong side of the law, he will be dealt with according to the law.
According to the Community Relations arm, testimony to the fact that no one stands above the law, 2 police officers are currently behind bars as a result of improper procedures in similar matters. Janelle McDonald for GBN News.